Greetings again, guys, and in this problem we are going to be looking at set 8 or practice problem number 8, which is question 2 from the May-June 2022 exam. The question reads, or the statement, the first term of an arithmetic sequence is -1 and the seventh term is 35. So the first question requires us to determine the common difference of the sequence. So let's go ahead. So what are we given? We are given that the first term, which is a, that is -1, and we are told that T7 is 35. So let's go ahead and deal with 2.1.1. So what we know about Tn of an arithmetic sequence is that it is always a plus n minus 1 multiplied by d. So if we are told that we have T7, we know that we will have a plus 7 minus 1 times d. So essentially T7 will be a plus 6d. That is what it will be. But we are told that the T7 is 35. So meaning we have 35 here. We can call this equation 2. And equation 1 essentially becomes a. So remember that a, we're given that it's -1. So that becomes your equation 1. So since we have a, we can sub it into equation 2. So sub equation 1 into equation 2. That will allow us to be able to find the difference. Okay. So if you look carefully, our a is -1 and then plus 6d. And this is equal to 35. And clearly what we need to do is to transpose this one to the other side. So that what we have is 6d equals 35 plus 1, which is 36. So now what we have is 6d equals 36, and we know we are not looking for 6d, but we are looking for d. So we need to divide by 6 on the left and on the right, such that the answer which we end up finding is that n, not n but d, sorry, we find that d is 36 divided by 6, of which it will just be 6. So for our first question, we have found our answer. The common difference is equal 6. Okay, so next let's have a look at 2.1.2. 2.1.2, where we are told the number of terms in the sequence. So we are required to determine the number of terms in the sequence if the last term is 473. So essentially we're given that we have a term which is the last one, the last term, which is 473. We need to figure out how many terms are there in this sequence. So we can go ahead and formulate our general term first. Remember, our general term is given by a plus n minus 1 times d. So our a is -1 as we were given, and then plus n minus 1 times 6. So if you observe carefully, our Tn will be -1 plus 6n minus 6. In other words, our Tn is 6n minus 7. So it means what we have now, Tn 6n minus 7, this must be 473. So we'll take the 7 and transpose it to the other side, such that what we have is 6n equals 473, and then plus 7, which will become 480. But then we know that we'll just have 6n equals 480. We know we are not looking for 6n, but we are actually looking for n. So I'll divide by 6 and divide by 6. And what you should note after doing that is that our n will be 480 divided by 6, of which if you use your calculator, the answer you'll find is 80. So our n is 80. What does this mean? In conclusion, this means that the number of terms which we have in the sequence is 80. So in conclusion, we have 80 terms in the sequence. So next, let's go and have a look at what is our 2.1.3. So let's paste it on this page. And there we are asked to determine the sum of the first 40 terms in this sequence. So remember, it means we are looking for S40. But before we get there, I just want to remind you, remember what we have here is we do have the last term. So remember that what we have is we have the last term of the sequence, which is 473, and we also have the first term of the sequence, which is -1, and this is A. The last term is L, and we have also the number of terms, and the number of terms, we are told we are looking for the sum of 40 terms. So what do I want you to remember? This is what I want you to remember, which is that we have a summation formula as n, which is n over 2. It uses the first term plus the last term to be able to calculate our summation. So it means since we are looking for the sum of 40 terms, I'm going to have S40, which is going to be 40 divided by 2 into the first term, which is -1, and then plus the last term. Let me think. Yep. So there's something which we need to actually correct, which is the last term which we were given is at number 80, but we are looking for the sum of 40 terms. So which means the last term there should not be this 403. The last term rather should be T40, because we are looking for the sum of 40 terms. And already we do have our equation, which is 6 into n, which is 40 minus 7. So let's find our last term there. So the answer which we obtain is 233. This is the term at the 40th mark. And that is what we are going to use as our L. So that is very important, okay? We nearly made a mistake there. But the A remains the same. The number of terms is 40. So we just need to put 233 here. Then I'm going to go to my calculator and calculate what is the sum of 40 terms. So the answer which I obtain is 4,640. So that is the sum of the first 40 terms. I hope you do understand this and you actually do also get the same answer. So, but maybe let's try the other way. So let's go and try this answer using the other way. What is the other way? The other way is using our definition as n is n over 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 times d. So we already know that our a is -1 and our d we did find to be 6. And n we know it is 40. So we could have used this sum of 40 terms. That will be 40 over 2 into 2 times a, which is 2 times -1, plus 40 minus 1 times d, which is 6. So I'll go to my calculator and see if we obtain the same answer. So the answer which I obtain is exactly the same, which is 4,640. So either way, you will get the same answer. So choose the one which you are most comfortable with. So this brings us to the end of question 2 of the June 2022 exam paper.